The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, guys. That's right. It's finally Friday, and it's Friday, September 6th, you guys. Today is National Chianti Day.
Chianti?
Chianti, yeah.
Chianti, it's Italian wine.
There we go.
Chianti?
There we go.
Jason, don't drink wine.
Chianti.
Yeah, there we go. It's also National Food Bank Day. Make sure you're stockpiling up your food, you guys, and bank that shit. It's also National Lazy Moms Day. What do you have to say about that, Rico, being a dope dad?
Moms deserve to
be lazy
time, man.
Be lazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, wasn't
they've done all the hard work already? You know what I'm saying? That's what the dope dads are for.
And I mean, in Boys in the Hood, wouldn't you consider Brenda a lazy mom because everyone was always telling her to keep her babies out the street?
No, I would not. I would say look at the circumstances, what got her there.
It's also National Read a Book Day, Rico. And it is National...
Audiobooks are better.
National Coffee Ice Cream Day, Dr. T. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look down below or up above on your screen to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. Kicking it off first. So welcome everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And kicking it off today, that's right, we have the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte, the man who is the enabler of lazy moms across the country. That's right, it is the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte.
Yeah, you heard it from me. All the moms out there, all the marijuana mamas out there, take some time off. Go right down. All the hard work. You deserve to be lazy. But sounds like just moms are being lazy right now. We got a nice little update on your story from Wednesday, Jason.
I saw that.
The unexpected happened.
Yes.
Officer Lou gets no charges. So I've got a fresh update on everything that Jason covered at the end of Wednesday's show, where an Oakland, California police officer, Samson Liu, was placed on leave after an extensive illegal grow was found on a property that he had listed for sale in Antioch, the third most populous city in Contra Costa County. According to KTVU San Francisco's Lisa Fernandez, no charges are being filed against Liu, whose property was among several houses raided by state agents during an illegal marijuana grow house sting in Antioch. A total of 80 pounds of cannabis flower stored in trash bags were seized from Officer Samson Liu's property on April 30th, which they say to be valued at $132,000, according to the California Department of Cannabis Control. The agency also shared video clips of their operation to add context to the case at hand. On Thursday, the Contra Costa County District Attorney's Office.
Contra Costa.
Oh, you get to correct me, but you still calling Kamala Harris?
What? Kamala?
You're still saying Kamala Harris?
Kamala?
Yeah, okay, all right. Let me read my.
This is rare Contra Costa.
It's Contra Costa. Contra Costa.
Let me finish.
Go for
let
it,
me
please,
finish the story.
please.
All right. The DA did not identify the homeowner of that address by name. State agents say they believe that Lou was renting out the home to someone else, but they do not know the specifics. So not enough evidence. He gets off free. The 4-bedroom home is currently up for sale at a listing price of $749,000. KTVU reached out to Lou on Thursday by phone and email, but did not hear back. The news station also reached out to his attorney, Julia Fox, who was unavailable, and the Oakland Police Officers Union, who declined to speak. Last week, Oakland police confirmed that Lou was placed on paid administrative leave following the operation. Neighbors said that they were taken aback when agents raided their quiet residential street and confiscated bags and plants. We were shocked, said Mark Holcomb, a neighbor who says he's lived in the area for about 4 years and seldom saw people at those houses. It happened at 7 o'clock this morning, and I just didn't expect it here. Other neighbors said that they would smell marijuana at times, and the Department of Cannabis Control raided another home in Antioch that day, also on Sierra Trail Way, where the video they shared showed mature plants, faulty electrical wiring, and tubs of chemicals strewn about the home. That house is also up for sale. And that's what I call a fire sale. But Antioch is by far the city in the Bay Area with the most illegal grow houses, according to the Department of Cannabis Control. In California, only Los Angeles surpasses Antioch with the number of cannabis raids, with a total of 89 this year. Department of Cannabis Control Commander Kevin McKierney seemed to blame Antioch's illegal grow problem on the thriving real estate market in an interview with KTVU on Thursday. The housing market in Antioch is pretty good. The houses are generally worth in the $1 million range where they're purchased. Also, it's easier to conceal in suburban America, whereas long as nobody smells it, nobody sees it, nobody knows what's going on and leaves their neighbors alone. Well, folks, nothing to see here. No charges will be filed against Officer Lou while he's on paid leave now. I'm sure he and the police union will be suing for defamation, and he'll retire rich with full pension, if not returning to OPD as a hero amongst men. And who's the real culprit in this whole ordeal? Those pesky rising real estate prices. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News. What do you guys think? Comments?
I think this guy's first name should have been Scott, bro, because he just got off scot-free.
You sure you ain't a dad, Jason?
Mm-hmm.
You sure you ain't
like
a dad?
that? I'm a father to many, that's for sure.
That joke was rather dad-ish.
Hey, I try, Rico. I mean, this does remind me of another story that we covered, you know what I'm saying, last month on this show.
What's that?
The whole Stizzy story, when they were saying that Tony was had all this X, Y, and Z and these houses or whatnot, and it's like if they can't prove that the owner was actively involved in this, then they have to let it go, because generally there's some type of a tenant agreement with someone, and so that would ultimately be the person that's prosecuted.
And they came up with this very quickly, though.
Yeah, they did.
This is very quick.
I bet you the Oakland Police Union got all over this.
It makes me wonder how much they're involved, the whole police officer.
Mm-hmm.
They're all in it, man. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's the system, man. It is the system, and you can't. It's American way. You see a quick buck, you gotta grab it.
You gotta get it.
Jason, when you covered this on the story earlier in the week, I thought you had mentioned in your story that they had made connections to Chinese criminal rings. Like maybe they identified.
So the Chinese criminal rings that they were referencing, they were saying overall that there was three other houses that were raided during that same day that they believe were tied to Chinese organized crime, but there wasn't any follow up on that, and that was just an allegation that law enforcement put out in that original article.
Yeah, well, I mean, just given that connection though, and given the fact that these things are $1 million homes, right? I mean, this isn't like
no, those
this
are not.
isn't the hood.
No, bullshit. It's a total fucking hood. It's all Section 8 homes, bro. It's Antioch. It's all.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta understand, Dr. Mark. This is California, where I had to leave South Central LA because it got too expensive, and I could no longer search for properties I could buy there.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
$1 million home in California is lower middle class here.
Yeah, and just
it's a tear down with rats, bro.
Just so you know, like these houses were super nice when they first built out. They were all like really nice tract homes. They were selling for like 400,000 to, you know what I'm saying, anywhere from 200,000 to 400,000 when they first came out. A bunch of people bought them, whatnot, and then couldn't find actual renters, and then the whole area turned to a whole Section 8 as soon as they started regentrifying Oakland and Richmond, and they bust everybody out there, and now Deer Valley is one of the hoodiest high schools in the state.
It's all good. BlackRock's gonna buy everything.
Mm-hmm.
No, when are we just gonna get these death squads for the less economically advantaged, you guys?
I think they already came out because I went downtown this past weekend and I saw hardly any homeless people anymore.
You're calling for the purge, huh, Matthew?
Where'd they go?
You're calling for the purge?
Where'd they go? Gavin Newsom is purging the scum of the earth, as he calls them.
Yeah, they passed that law where they can now shake them down and throw all their shit away and push them on, but there's still no services.
Yeah, they need some services, that's for sure.
Anyone who's born on the earth should have a inborn right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, ability to eat at least 2 meals a day, somewhere where they're not going to get raped on or hurt.
Well, they get half of that if you're born an American, Mathieu St. Germain.
Yeah. This country is way too rich for people to be strung out and destitute on the streets. Period.
I agree with that too. We definitely, and a lot of it is mental health associated, not necessarily poverty stricken. You know what I mean? A lot of it is mental health disorders that people. It's a sad,
sad situation. Ronald Reagan, man.
Shout out to Ronald Reagan.
Tune in 2025 when Jason Beck comes out as an anarcho-communist.
Make sure
he finally got in his brain.
Make sure you go.
Sounds like he's a socialist.
No, never.
Never
a socialist. Not a chance in hell. No way of that. But I do encourage everyone to go out and check out the Reagan movie this weekend in theaters across the country.
No, thank you.
A pile of trash.
It's so good.
Thank you.
It's such a good movie.
I'd rather go see the Abraham Lincoln movie where they are showing all of the facts pointing to the fact that he's gay.
Either way, you're going to see a movie about a Republican. Either way you go, Rico.
Yeah, and like a Gabraham Lincoln, it is.
Gabraham.
Fair enough. Any other thoughts on this big bust in Oakland? I'm surprised that he already got discharged, I would say, from the charges. You know what I mean? So I would assume that he's back on duty and back out on the squad today.
On the beat. He's back at his house. He's looking at.
I think we've all seen that the cops enforce laws; they don't really follow them.
Message.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, but cute, and cute. We're gonna roll into our first commercial, and we're gonna be right back.
The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated.
Emancipate this.
Oh, whoa. Pause. And we're back, you guys. And we are
you really
back.
freed him.
We're back, Rico.
Yeah, we are back. Up next, we have the rising socialist star in the Republican Party himself.
Never a socialist.
To break the news.
I reject any statement around that.
The highest Republican in every room, known for smoking the best weed in the world, and he will be passing on any of your comments about his God, Donald J. Trump.
He's not a god. He's not
Lowercase G. Lowercase G.
He's about to be your next president, though. That's for sure. Can't wait.
Doubt it.
Can't wait.
Jason Beck, what do you have for us today? What do you have?
Yeah.
Well, you guys. This is going to be a fascinating story, and I'm really glad that we have the doctors here today, because marijuana users had better COVID-19 outcomes, a new study shows, you guys. Very, very interesting. As we get ready for our next pandemic, people who use cannabis had lower rates of severe COVID-19 infections and were less likely to experience serious outcomes, such as intubation or death, according to the results of a newly published research. The study, which was conducted by researchers at Northwell Health in New York, was published online last week by the peer-reviewed Journal of Cannabis and Cannabinoid Research. In a quote, cannabis users had better outcomes and mortality compared with non-users, the authors of the study wrote. The beneficial effect of cannabis use may be attributed to its immunomodulatory effects. Is that right, doctors?
Immunomodulatory.
Yes.
Sorry, this is Dr. St. Germain. Sorry, other doctors.
Thank you, Mathieu St. Germain. Appreciate that. To conduct the study, researchers analyzed hospital admissions data from the National Inpatient Sample Database, and patients who were admitted with a diagnosis of COVID-19 were separated into two groups of cannabis users and non-users. Patients were also matched to adjust for factors including comorbidities, age, gender, and race, and the research determined that cannabis users had a lower risk of death and other serious outcomes such as lung failure or the need to be put on a ventilator. In an additional quote, on initial analysis, cannabis users had significantly lower rates of severe COVID-19 infection, intubulation, ARDS, which is acute respiratory distress syndrome, acute respiratory failure, severe sepsis with multi-organ failure, and mortality, and shorter length of hospital stay, the authors, end quote, the authors of the study wrote. And Cannabis News Source reported on this last week, and after one-on-one matching, cannabis use was associated with lower rates of severe COVID-19 infection, intubation, ARDS, acute respiratory failure, severe sepsis with multi-organ failure, and mortality and shorter length of a hospital stay, you guys. The data showed that 28.2% of cannabis users experienced a serious COVID-19 infection compared with 46.6% of non-users, and the mortality rate for cannabis users was 5.1% in non-cannabis users versus 2.8% in cannabis users, while intubation rates were 9.7% in non-cannabis users and 7.1% in cannabis users. Cannabis users also had slightly shorter hospital stays of 6.4 days compared to 7.0 days for non-users. And it goes into cannabis and inflammation as well. Benjamin Kaplan, MD, a medical marijuana specialist and the author of the doctor-approved cannabis handbook, notes limitations of the study, including challenges with meaningful matching study subjects and a lack of important data, including information levels of patients and the types of cannabis products used by the patients. However, he characterized the results of the research as promising, noting that by lowering inflammation and reducing certain immune responses, cannabis could help prevent severe COVID-19 symptoms, especially the overreaction of the immune system known as cytokine storm, which causes many of the serious complications in COVID-19 patients. In an additional quote, cannabis seems to help calm the immune system when it overreacts with a big problem in severe COVID cases, Kaplan says, and who was not involved in the study, writes in an email in an additional quote, by affecting certain parts of the immune system, cannabis may help prevent the dangerous inflammation that can make COVID much worse. In some cases, this effect could be life-saving, especially for people at risk of severe illness or long-term COVID symptoms, you guys. Well, I think this is great news, especially as we approach election, and there's talks of a upcoming pandemic and whatnot coming back again. And I just think that this is great news overall. And so I guess, as we would say, weed for the people over here. And I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Dang, Jason, big words in your article today, friend.
Lots of big words. Nice of you to show up, Jenny Beth.
Good morning.
cytokine storm. I'm trying
Thank
to
you, doctor.
But it's great news. You're absolutely right. It's not new. We've been following this for a while and noting in preclinical studies that there's an antiviral effect and an anti-inflammatory effect, both THC and CBD. So now we're seeing the actual in the field evidence of people benefiting from using cannabis.
I think this is great news. What do you have to say about this, Dr. Mark?
Yeah, so cytokine storm, what Dr. T was referring to, is a natural immunological response kind of gone haywire. So it's basically your own body. So cytokines are basically hormone-like molecules that are released, and most of them are what we call pro-inflammatory. So they're released by the body's immune response gone haywire, and that's often where there's collateral damage to tissue in the body's ability to just try to heal itself. So yes, like Dr. T, we've known about this for some time, and that's part of the, I guess, anti-COVID nature of cannabis. But more exciting is that there was a Canadian group, Dr. T knows about this work, that actually showed that CBD inhibited the binding of the viral capsid protein to human cells. So if you could so you've often seen sort of like the graphical schematic of the virus itself. It looks like it's got a bunch of MAGA hats on it, right? There's a bunch of these spike proteins. So I think, Dr. T, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they've found out that CBD at a pretty low concentration inhibits the binding, and that binding event is going to keep the virus from taking hold. Maybe Dr. T has more information on that.
No, that's absolutely right. It inhibits the binding, as well as the cascade of inflammation that happens after binding. So you sort of have a dual prong effect, and that's what this paper is proposing as well.
Right, and I would assume that like the entourage effect would be at play here. So there wouldn't necessarily just be CBD alone, but maybe all the other minor cannabinoids, including THC, could help, dial down that immune response, because cannabinoids, and correct me if I'm wrong again, Dr. T, cannabinoids in general are active in autoimmune disorders, again, where your body is trying to fend off some type of invasion or some type of allergic, and often the allergic response, which is a hallmark of, teary eyes, sneezing and coughing and wheezing, a lot of that has to do with a out of whack immune response, right? That's kind of dialed up. And I think what we know in cannabinoids is cannabinoids helps temper that immune response in certain diseases. So yeah, I would think that a full spectrum extract might be more efficacious than single isolates, as we've heard many times.
And to add on to that, Dr. Mark, one of the biggest emerging fields right now in immunomodulatory anti-inflammatory medicine are flavonoids.
Yeah.
There's, in fact, a couple, fisetin and an even rarer one called tropoflavin. And these are being shown to downregulate inflammation and immunological self-attack. So my guess is there's probably a good amount of flavonoids cannabis. I actually just texted Alec, my friend Alec Dixon, to see if he had a list or knew what the main flavonoids that were featured were in cannabis. So there could be in a full spectrum on just the cannabinoids, also the flavonoids and these other natural compounds that interact with the human immunological system to kind of downregulate attack. Also, that cytokine storm that we were first talking about, that was what caused the majority of the deaths in the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. Wasn't actually the flu, and what they were having was this huge wave of very young people dying. Because in the younger people, their immune system was so robust, it ended up overreacting to the flu and then killing them.
Wow.
You know, I wanted to let the doctors cook and MSG as well with those big ass words and everything, but I just want to say, Jason, we called this shit back in 2020.
I mean,
they tried to silence us.
They did.
They tried to silence us. We were the only ones on the news team back then that had not contracted COVID.
Yep.
And we were smoking hella dope every single day.
Exactly, smoking the best weed in the world.
Jason,
And I
did
wonder.
you guys ever get
And we were
COVID?
outside
And I wonder-
too. We were outside too.
And yeah, I was outside doing everything, telling everybody whatever, like screw your curfew, and kick rocks with all that BS. Live in America.
We had a good time, Jason, during COVID.
We did. We
went to Orange County, where freedom is still free.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. That's why I had to
the
move.
The one time I caught it was the end of 2022 when I was on a 2-month hiatus of cannabis, and go figure, I caught it in Vegas.
My doctor told me not to get any more boosters, that I'm naturally immune, and so I've never had it, which is amazing. We had our entire staff tested for live infection and antibodies every week, entire time. No COVID. So, Matthew, I didn't know you were a doctor, but I'm glad I came in.
He is.
Yeah, I'm a self-appointed doctor. I put Dr. Mathieu St. Germain on my Amazon information because I figured if all my packages say doctor, the folks will treat them nicer and they'll get to my front door in better shape.
Do they treat them nicely?
Hold on a second. Don't you think that it might be drugs in there and people are just going to steal them?
I'm a doctor. It's fine.
Yeah, that's why they're going to steal them, because they're a doctor. They're like, oh, they're good shits in here.
Don't worry, he's a doctor. Trust him.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has 2 PhDs.
Oh boy. Oh
I
boy.
have a doctorate in receiving packages. Speak of that what you will.
Speaking of doctors,
You're not delivering,
oh
but
boy.
receiving.
Yeah, we're
Hey,
not touching.
what are
that
you
with
going
a
to
10-foot
do?
pole, you
It
guys.
is what it is.
Yeah, we're going to
Sign
keep
here.
this train rolling. We're going to roll right into an actual real doctor. It's Dr. Gene Talleyrand. He's the founder of the CESC and as well as Medican, where you should be getting all of your doctor's recommendations. He's been writing recommendations so long that he probably even wrote your parents' recommendation. That's right. Here to show you how to do it all is none other than Dr. Gene Talleyrand.
Thank you, Jason.
Yes, sir.
Happy Friday, everyone. So my headline today is CBD dosing reduces daytime fatigue
Wrong doctor.
compared to placebo. An article is from Normal. So researchers at the University Hospital in Split, Croatia, studied CBD supplementation to establish whether regular use of CBD would improve quality of life. 64 patients with primary hypertension were assigned to take 225 milligrams, between 225 and 450 milligrams of CBD every day for 5 weeks. Then they waited a 2-week period, and then they took it again for another 5 weeks. One of the 5 weeks periods, participants were given a placebo. So this is about a placebo-controlled, randomized crossover trial. The self-reported outcomes were assessed using a quality of life short form, a sleep quality index, a sleepiness scale, a memory complaint questionnaire, and an anxiety inventory. The results: sleepiness was reduced, as well fatigue, vitality, and psychological well-being improved. Regular CBD use reduced daytime sleepiness despite the fact that no change was observed in the quality of sleep at night. About a year ago, a research team at UCLA and Scripps Clinic Sleep Center in San Diego reported on the effect of multiple different formulations of CBD on sleep. In a publication, the authors concluded that a 15 milligram dose of CBD, either alone or in combination with CBC and CBN, improves sleep quality in a manner like but not better than melatonin. The two studies may seem to oppose each other. However, when one considers that dosage, set, and setting matter, we understand how the same chemical can cause two different effects. In the recent study, high doses of CBD taken during the day reduce sleepiness and improve quality of life. In last year's study, low doses of CBD improve sleep at night. It's important to note that in the more recent study, reduction in sleepiness did not correlate with levels of CBD in the blood, and that's because CBD is fat soluble and does not distribute equally in blood and other tissues. Many cannabis dispensaries don't really sell CBD. If you ask the bud tender, they won't know much about it either. in their THC blinded stupor, they'll tell you that CBD needs THC to work. Well, here are 2 studies that are letting you know that they're wrong. Don't rely on the bud tenders for knowledge about CBD. Another option is to go to your corner convenience store for CBD or order it online, and you'll definitely not get clarity from the convenience store attendant. In either case, the dosage of CBD is usually low, 5 to 10, at most 20 milligrams. To reduce daytime sleepiness, you need to consume the whole package in one sitting. Remember also that both studies required regular use of CBD taken over time before they noted the beneficial effects. Unlike psychoactive THC, you don't feel CBD right away. So what will the market do? Will it continue to offer CBD at doses that are only beneficial for sleep? If you're suffering from chronic fatigue syndrome, will you need to break the bank to get an appropriate CBD dose? Will prices drop enough to afford a daily dose of CBD? Maybe the higher doses of CBD will need to be prescribed, whereas the lower doses of CBD will serve as an over-the-counter sleep aid. This is definitely a case of one size doesn't fit all. So do you use CBD for daytime pick-me-up, or is THC the only thing on your mind? This is Dr. Talleyrand with High at 9 News.
You know, Dr. T, CBD exists in a majority of all varietals of cannabis, and so I prefer to just focus on quality cannabis as opposed to some antiquated THC percentage, because it's totally ridiculous and just doesn't make sense.
Oh boy, I want to jump on that, but I'm not going to do it, Jason. Mm-hmm. I'm late. I can't be an asshole too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Decided to only buy weed by THC percentage, so now I'm smoking those sparkly blue cat turds.
Oh man,
they're 98% THC. Yeah, I've got a growth on my neck, but I think it's just extra THC for when I take a break.
That's funny.
A growth on your neck of your extra. Okay, great.
His growth on his neck is actually his head, Jenny Beth.
Good morning, High at 9 News. I mean, like, okay. This is a cool study. That's interesting. I mean, it's kind of like the school of thought that a lower dose of melatonin is more effective for human than piling it on, right? So is that kind of the similar thought process, Dr. Top?
Yeah, I'm thinking that the low dose of CBD may be a bit relaxing, but the higher dose may be stimulating, and I've heard that a lot from folks, that CBD stimulates them at higher doses.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, Dr. T. From just from what I've seen, because I know a lot of people that will smoke like CBD flower, and they swear it's like a energetic type of thing for them.
Can we dose Jason back up on a high dose of CBD and just kind of, Jason, can we use you as a lab monkey?
Well, maybe.
Well,
maybe it depends on what the CBD flower looks and tastes like. It's all going to depend.
Can we just give you? No, we can give you isolate. We can just that way we can.
No, I'm not taking any hard drugs. Sorry.
No.
I just a sativa-like 20-to-1 type 3 CBD, a COA for one, with a terpene pattern similar to Jack Herrera, high terpinolene. So I would think that flower might be a nice pick-me-up for folks out there.
Okay. What were you going to say, Dr. Mark?
Yeah, so I appended a reference to Dr. T's article in Discord that we might want to post a link to. So yesterday, a very important study was published regarding CBD and THC. It was often thought of that kind of like CBD is not the antidote to THC, but there's some interaction between CBD attenuating the potency of CBD or of THC. And this was a clinical trial in humans, double-blind placebo test, and this was just published yesterday. showed that so Dr. T, they were giving patients orally 9 milligrams of THC and in differing amounts of CBD. So at the lower amounts of CBD, they didn't see any effect at all. And they were talking about anywhere between, say, 10 to 30 milligrams of CBD. But when they upped the amount of CBD to 450 milligrams, what they found, and this is the first I'm ever hearing of this, so this is substantial result. What they found is that at those high milligrams, it actually increased the psychoactive effects of THC. And so I think Jenny has said it before, the dose makes the poison. So where you are on that dose is really going to determine how that's really going to impact the body. So when you're only giving the body a few milligrams, there's not much of an effect. But when you overwhelm it, 450 milligrams of any medicine for average size adult is going to be a pretty substantial dose. And what we also know, and Dr. T's talked about this before, is CBD is not very bioavailable. So even though you're taking CBD in, a lot of it never makes it to the bloodstream, never makes it to cannabinoid receptors. So maybe, just maybe, by overwhelming it, by putting 450 milligrams into the body, you're kind of overwhelming that bioavailability thing. And now what is getting through is having some kind of noted effect. But just to talk about sleep for a second, I make a 5-to-1 CBD THC gummy, and a lot of people that I give it to take it before they go to bed, and they claim that it helps them get like 4 to 6 hours of uninterrupted REM sleep, which is really important. And I think one of the major reasons why cannabinoids are so beneficial, because it helps regulate your sleep function, and that's when your body, right, Matthew, is kind of repairing itself. Fair. Very interesting studies here on CBD and THC.
Fair enough. Lots of great information in today's show. And we're going to go into a commercial and we're going to be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
It does function like melatonin.
All right, and we're back, guys. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure that you hit that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show will be up on our website a little bit later today. And I do want to send a big thank you out to all of you. We just recently passed 925,000 views on this channel on our creep up to 1 million views. And so I want to thank you all for tuning in and clicking and liking and all of that good stuff. And this weekend, normally we do have a blacklist video that comes out on Saturday morning. We are not going to do that this week. That will resume next week. So just to give you guys the heads up on that.
Oh.
The Network Show is coming back to LA September 18th and 19th. Make sure to get your tickets now for the only B2B licensed flower trade show in LA. With its previous shows selling out, you'll want to act fast so you don't miss out on over 150 of the best brands and distributors throughout California. The Network Show captures and ensures an intimate, focused environment for California's most influential brands and retailers to join forces in the true spirit of the legacy operator. So head over to www.networkshow.co/ticketing to reserve your spot and start cultivating connections at this year's Network Show.
You can see it now.
Oh yeah, we're. I think we're back, you guys. I think we're back.
In my mind's eye.
Rico, you ready? You with us, Rico? You have your little sippy sip.
You're muted.
You're on mute. Rico.
All right, y'all.
There we go.
Y'all hear me now?
Yeah, now we got it. Yeah.
So this New England-based expert in organic and natural plant product chemistry has a no booth pack policy when you enter his classroom. And I hope y'all got your notepads ready because the man, the myth, the legend, the professor has entered the building. Dr. Mark Scialdone. Dr. Mark.
Oh, yeah. Dr.
Educate
Mark.
us.
Thank you, Rico.
Now we can be Smarties.
Happy Friday. I hope everyone's got their Smarties.
Was that Smarties with the C?
Remember what Underdog used to say? Inside this ring, I fill with an Underdog super energy pill.
Mm-hmm.
So, happy Friday, everybody. Hope you have great plans for the weekend. Hope the weather's nice where you're at. It's going to be beautiful up here in sunny Vermont. It's the weekend of the Art Hop here in Burlington, so we get to see all kinds of great street art. So my article today is a very important one. I'm so glad to be sharing this with you because yesterday a federal court ruled that THCO is legal under the 2018 Farm Bill in a surprise win for the synthetic cannabinoid sellers and producers. So let's hear it for the molecule. Give me a T.
E.
Okay. Give me an H.
H.
Give me a C.
C.
Give me a O.
Trump legalized it.
That's THCO, folks. It's the acetate of THC, so it's a prodrug of THC. And in an unexpected win for the embattled U.S. hemp industry, the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled that in intoxicating hemp-derived products, THCO is classified as legal under the 2018 Farm Bill. As the U.S. hemp industry continues its battle against both the U.S. cannabis industry and growing legislation aimed at banning intoxicating or synthetic hemp substances, this groundbreaking decision will come as a much-needed reprieve for many businesses. On October 4th, the court effectively challenged the DEA's assertion that THCO was an illegal substance, starting with its arguments, quote, lack of power to persuade. The question here involved Tanya Anderson, who was let go from her job at Diamondback Investment Group after failing 2 drug tests for THC found in her system. Anderson, who was using hemp-derived products, including CBD oil and products containing THCO to treat anxiety and muscle spasms, argued that she was wrongfully terminated because the products she used were legal. While Anderson ultimately lost the case and failed to have her termination overturned, the court ruled definitely that THCO and other synthetically derived hemp substances were legal under current federal law. According to the ruling, THCO is synthetically derived and does not naturally occur in the cannabis plant. In a 2023 letter, in its interim final rule, the DEA argues that THCO is therefore Scheduled I controlled substance alongside cocaine and heroin because it's not naturally found in hemp. However, in a surprise ruling, the court cited a previous ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court that synthetic cannabinoids still fall under the definition of hemp as long as they are originally derived from the plant and contain less than 0.3% delta-9 THC on a dry basis. We reject Diamondback's contention that the DEA's interim final rule or letter mandates a finding that THCO is illegal. With such a clear rebuke of the DEA, the decision sends a clear signal to the federal courts will refer to the simple language of the 2018 Farm Bill and not the DEA's interpretation when dealing with synthetic cannabinoid cases. That's pretty significant. Despite the positive development for hemp businesses, the new Farm Bill currently making its way through the legislative process includes the Mary Miller Amendment. This amendment is designed to regulate the flourishing, intoxicating hemp industry and would also have an impact on the country's hemp and CBD industries, making 90 to 95% of the hemp products on this market, including FDA-approved animal feed, which is banned. So, yeah, this is a pretty significant overturning. We remember that the attorney who shills for the hemp industry, a guy named Rod Kite from North Carolina, basically queried the DEA about THC acetate, and that's basically when the DEA came back and said, well, no, it's synthetic, so therefore it's Schedule 1, and also it's derived from either Delta 8 or Delta 9, which are also Schedule 1. So I think that this ruling is problematic for many reasons, but I think this kind of shows the power that the hemp industry lobby has basically put into play here. When you have the Fourth Circuit Court basically overruling what a DEA administrator is saying, there's no consensus in the government. Now, THC acetate, it is correct, it is not a naturally occurring compound. And what they found, and I think we've talked about this on High at 9, is that when that's heated up in a vape pen, it could degrade into a very toxic compound called ketene, which is not something you want to be inhaling into the into your lungs. It's not something you want to come in contact with at all. So I think that there are some problems with this overturning, but I think this is going to send a clear message to the hemp producers that it's game on for THCO and any one of the alphabet soup of cannabinoids that these folks are making. That's my input from here at the St. Michael's College in Colchester, Vermont. I'd be interested in what my colleagues have to say, in particular, Dr. T. What do you think about this? You think THCO should be readily available for people?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The problem is that we rely on lawyers, judges, and the DEA to tell us about science and health. It's just a bad system from the beginning. We need to go to the scientists for the science, not the regulator. The regulators are ridiculous. Yeah, I'm concerned about this because we had the vape pen crisis with another acetate, a vitamin E acetate, right? Is this going to spark another crisis? I don't know. We don't have good data on THCO. We have plenty of data on Delta 9. So go to town with Delta 9 THC. But I have a big question mark for THCO here.
I can't wait for the collab between SpaghettiOs and THCO to come out and be released.
THCOs?
What's that, Jenny?
THCOs?
Yep, something like that. THCO.
What are the use cases for THCO, Dr. Mark and Dr. T? None.
What was the question again?
What are the use cases? Like, what's the efficacy for THCO? Like, is there...
Yeah, So THCO is the acetate of THC, which turns into THC in the body. So THCO, or an acetate ester, is basically a prodrug. It's what we call a prodrug. So what we're administering is not the active ingredient, but on metabolism of that compound, now it makes the active ingredient. So the active ingredient is still either Delta 8 or Delta 9. What I would assume, because this is the hemp-derived space, is that they would preferentially want to make the acetate of Delta 8, right? Because they think that Delta 8 exists in this loophole. Although if you look at the Controlled Dangerous Substance Act, which predates the Farm Bill by about 30 years, you'll see that Delta 8 THC is mentioned by name under code 7370 for tetrahydrocannabinols. Now, again, the plant doesn't make Delta 8, right? So Delta 8, all the Delta 8 products out there, without exception, are synthetic. The problem with the synthesis is that it's not clean. When you convert CBD into Delta 8, it makes a variety of different products. So all those variety of different products are now in the next reaction, which is the acetylation of the phenol group to make the acetate. So you not only have THC Delta 8 acetate in there, you have a little bit of Delta 9, probably a little bit of Delta 10, Delta XYZ. God knows what else is in there. The other thing that's an issue, I would just say this, is that, you know, the acetates in general, Jenny, so like think of heroin. So morphine, I think, Matthew, you've talked about this, right? Mm-hmm. So in making THC acetate, you need a synthetic precursor called acetic anhydride. Well, the DEA is already watching acetic anhydride because that's the process that they use to make heroin, right? So it's kind of like, I won't call it the heroin of weed, but people have called it because they think, oh, okay, it's the same kind of process. But essentially, this is a chemical process that's making a biologically active ingredient. So all the things that we talk about when we talk about making active pharmaceutical ingredients, we have to have a industrially scalable process to make this. We have to have product specifications on the purity and the ingredients that are used in the process. And then we have to have third-party labs who are good enough to basically not only find the major active ingredient, but understand all those minor impurities to be able to assess the purity of these things. We just don't have that in place right now. So I think that this is a pretty irresponsible ruling by this court, because it's basically going to give the green light to all those unswarthy actors who are basically making products for this market. And Jason, we've talked about this. Mm-hmm. How are the dispensaries, right, which have to have, you know, seed to sale tracking, have to have all of their employees with FBI background checks, have to have a medical marijuana card, all the constraints that the cannabis industry exists today. How are they going to compete with an $8 vape pen made of THCO that they can buy online, and 2 clicks after saying you're 21, it's asking you for your credit card information. Yep. There's no competition. Mm-hmm. And that market, they estimate in excess of $50 billion worldwide. That's bigger than all the combined cannabis markets stacked together, which they think is only around $29 billion. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's a much larger addressable market with much less regulation. And I think this court ruling is basically going to open up the floodgate even more.
Mm-hmm. It's like we're going to have a wave of like spice type stuff coming out again. And what we saw with that is, you know, in this botanical rush to babysit adults and keep them safe, what legislators here, you know, and especially in the South did, was unleash this wave of spice. And the spice, which are all these synthetic cannabinoids, ended up having all kinds of mental health problems, overdose problems, sickness problems. And it's like, I just hope, and my story is going to talk about this a little bit, that we as adults can continue to get ourselves of fear and make informed, rational choices. Like, bro, everybody wants to change their consciousness. Let's figure out the cleanest, safest, healthiest way for people to do so, instead of trying to create these guardrails around other people's like inner worlds.
Hey,
Let's keep people safe by allowing them to get high.
Yeah, I agree with you, MSG. Well, Dr. Mark, do have to push back on the $8 carts.
Why are they 10?
There, this will at least be $10 because it's top shelf. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you got to make up for the potency.
I knew there was a $10 coming in somewhere. I knew. Yeah.
I have an actual question. So is this a cannabinoid that you're going to find in my mother liquor when I'm doing an extraction, or is this something that has to be intentionally converted? And
No. Yeah, this is not naturally occurring. You won't find this in mother liquor. You need a chemical called acetic anhydride to make this. So this is intentionally being made. And what it does, because there's some half-life to the acetate in your body, is it gives you a longer onset of activity. So you really feel that creeper. Like when you first take the hit, you may not feel high like you would with THC, but then like 10 or 15 minutes later, all of a sudden you're like, whoa. So what's happened is as the compound comes into your body, like we said, the acetate gets hydrolyzed, releases THC, and now that has the activity. What might happen is making the acetate might give you enhanced permeation across the blood-brain barrier, which is going to affect the pharmacokinetics and the pharmacodynamics, which is how these things act and are metabolized in the body.
I think, okay.
Fair enough. And on that, we're going to roll into our final commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Oh, man, that was weird. Hey, you, America. Do I look like Sean Connery? Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
So, and we are
Liquor is
back,
quicker.
you guys. Whoa, all you guys with your mother liquors. Easy there. Slow down. Put your tongues back in your mouth, you guys. So,
Single mother liquor.
yeah, coming up next, it is Miss Jenny Beth Dills. She's the founder of Kind Cannabis, as well as Justice Served, a 501c3, and she was a little late today because she had a date night last night, and that's right, is none other than Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
I'll have you know that I had a girls' night last night, Jason, and
Girls'
the
night
mothers were out.
Girls' night still a date night.
Yeah.
It was. Shout out to Miss Kinda. Shout out to Mom's Night Out. Yeah, let's go. Girl time. All right, so let's talk about Mission, because a combination marijuana consumption center and outdoor venue is opening, which is kind of cool if you guys are into music and into whatever else. One Michigan city is set to bring music and cannabis together with a venue that will be the first of its kind. This word is strange. The Ypsilanti Township Planning Commission has approved the pipeline.
Ypsilanti.
The Y is, yeah.
Ypsilanti.
Ypsilanti. Thank you, because
Ypsilanti, you got it.
boy, this felt like an attack.
Yeah.
The Ypsilanti Township Planning Commission has approved the pipeline consumption venue, which will be a music venue where the consumers can consume marijuana. Township Supervisor Brenda Stumbo says this will benefit the community. If you were to ask me, and I've been supervisor for 15 years now, this would ever occur in our community, I would not think it, Stumbo said. But I do think it's a win-win situation for revitalizing of a district that definitely hasn't seen and is in need of revitalization. I think it's going to be a win-win as long as it's managed properly for the community, and it's going to generate tax revenue as well as marijuana revenue. The venue will be placed on a lot of land off I-94 next to the local water treatment plant. The developer hopes it will be open by the summer of 2025. Well, water treatment plants are stinky, so that's going to suck. But other than that, this is kind of a cool story, short one, easy one. But yeah, what do you guys think about combining live music and cannabis? I think we've been doing that forever, and let's see how it goes in Ypsilanti.
Yes,
Ipsy, man. Ipsy has come a long way.
Yeah, they have.
That's the hood, right?
Yeah,
that's the
it's
hood. I dated
popping
a
out
couple
there.
of girls.
White Gucci.
Right next to the water treatment facility. Oh boy.
Yeah. Shout out to Ipsy. Yeah. Back in the day, bring back some memories of that.
Yeah, I love Michigan. Trap City out there.
Oh boy.
That's some Ypsilanti related news.
Oh, well, we're getting we're going there. We're getting there, Mathieu St. Germain. We are getting there.
Well, Ypsilanti is right next to Ann Arbor, and Ann Arbor's got great cannabis tradition, including hash bash. So
Yep.
Ypsilanti is just the sister town to Ann Arbor. So there's a lot of people who work in Ann Arbor, lives in Ypsilanti, and vice versa. So it's a really good community of, cannabis supporters and long history of cannabis in the area. So thumbs up to Ypsilanti, I mean, we used to call cocaine yip. So
Yep,
you think,
yep,
well,
I've heard that.
Ypsilanti might be the home of Yip, but it turns out there's a lot of good weed there. So,
I mean, Dr. T, what do you have to say about this? They're endorsing the crossfade in Ypsilanti.
Hey, alcohol is dehydrating. Cannabis or THC will dilate your blood vessels, which can make you dizzy, especially if you're. So, know what you're using. Use it cautiously. Pay attention to dose. But I wouldn't prevent someone from crossfading. Go for it.
Yeah, get it.
All
Look at
right.
that. Yeah.
Well, damn.
I love it. We
Freaky
get
Friday.
crossfade endorsements. Crossfade endorsements. Love this. All right, Rico, you ready? Let's introduce Mathieu St. Germain.
All right, y'all. Bringing us home today is a man who lives and operates in 7 dimensions simultaneously. He's a lawyer. He's a doctor. He's your pet's best friend. He's not a Jamaican, but he is immortal. Mathieu St. Germain. What do you have for us today, my man?
Thanks, Brother Rico. Happy Friday. I'm not a Jamaican, but I play one on TV.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Your hair's not long enough.
I have mental dreadlocks. They grew
Okay.
inside.
All right. They grew.
I got a
My
great
mind's
story.
eye.
Also pretty quick. Psychedelics show promise for treating PTSD by suppressing learned fear responses. This is going to tie in, you'll see, to a lot of the stuff I say here. I do so many of these really good drugs. Ongoing research is revealing how psychedelic drugs like psilocybin, active ingredient in magic mushrooms, and LSD may help treat PTSD by suppressing learned fear responses. Article published in the journal Psychedelics, researchers from the Medical College of Wisconsin provide an in-depth look at the neural mechanism underlying psychedelics' acute fear-reducing effects in rodent models of PTSD. Amygdala, an almond-shaped structure deep within the brain, plays a central role in fear learning and expression. Excitatory neurons in the lateral amygdala are activated by fearful stimuli, leading to a cascade of activity that drives fear responses. New research proposes that psychedelic drugs suppress this fear-related activity by enhancing the inhibitory signaling from GABAergic interneurons onto the excitatory neuron. Our hypothesis is that psychedelics acutely suppress learned fear responses by activating serotonin 2A receptors on inhibitory neurons in the amygdala, said lead author Thomas. Of a serotonin 2A receptor aligns with the receptor's established roles in the drug's hallucinogenic effects. However, the authors emphasize the importance of considering the broader pharmacological profile and duration of action of different psychedelic compounds. For example, MDMA, which has shown promise for treating PTSD in late-stage clinical trials, does not directly activate serotonin 2A receptors. Instead, increases the release of serotonin, which then activates various serotonin receptor subtypes. Research suggests that psychedelics with faster onset and shorter duration of acute effects may be advantageous for PTSD treatment compared to longer-acting drugs like LSD, which they're going to have you in the pilot seat for 12 to 14 hours. Insights from preclinical studies can help guide the design of clinical trials and treatment protocols that optimize the therapeutic potential of psychedelics for PTSD, one senior author said. By understanding the mechanisms and time course of psychedelics' effects on fear circuitry, you can better harness these compounds in a clinical setting. Several clinical trials are currently investigating psilocybin-assisted therapy for PTSD, some protocols incorporating drug administration in combination with exposure therapy to promote fear-extinct learning. As this research progresses, the amygdala is emerging as a key focus of interest for understanding how psychedelics may extinguish fearful memories and a novel treatment approach for PTSD and other fear-related disorders. Well, thank you for that, Jenny. I would like to just round this up by saying I think I'm really excited by this story, and I think that psychedelics, when done with intention, properly in the proper set and setting, a huge benefit in letting us really see kind of the fact that and grasp this in an adult way that we're not okay. We are not safe. There's actually no way for us to be safe. First off, we're a cluster of billions of individual cells, as well as probiotic cells, viruses, and other organisms that could go wrong and often do at a moment's notice. Next, we've got supervolcanoes. After that, we've got asteroidal impacts. After that, mass coronal ejections from the sun. Look at the wars. Look at all of these things that could happen to us. When we take psychedelics, we're connected to the fact that there is a larger organism, that the human family, the earth, the entire known universe. We know that everything that makes us, inhabits our interior world, has always existed and will always exist. I believe this helps us walk away from that fear. If we look at our current electoral situation in the U.S., what we're going to see is we have these two tribes, the GOP and the DNC. Each one of them pulls on this lever of fear in order to collect support and votes. And so what I would say and invite everybody today who's watching is try to find a way to interface with these psychedelics. If you can't do psychedelics because of trauma, get into meditation. Smile and hug some people. Do the work yourself to extinguish the fear response. You can begin making choices out of love, out of something approaching logic and or rationality, in hopes that we as a family move this planet towards a golden age, wherein we learn to extinguish war, extinguish our fear response, and hold out our hand to our brothers and sisters and cousins to help feed and clothe and house them. We can live together like the family that we are supposed to. Really excited to hear what my hosts and fellow correspondents have add to this conversation. Take it away, guys.
That's a cuddly hippie moment.
Look at that. Look at that.
I love you guys.
What a way to take us out on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Nothing to fear.
I feel like you should have had your onesie on, Mathieu St. Germain, for that story.
I have my internal onesie on with my internal dreadlocks, Jay.
Would you call that a twosie?
Oh boy.
What do you, doctors? Any thoughts on all this psychedelicness and brain functionality?
I just want to point out that the psychedelic state is not about the agent that you're taking. It's about also the setting. So you can achieve the psychedelic state many ways. You can achieve it with cannabis, and yeah, just pay attention to that. It's not all about the chemicals.
And Stanislav Grof, who was a psychotherapist, when LSD was made illegal, dove into ancient Hindu, Buddhist, and other texts and found holotropic breath work, and he was able to recreate psychedelic states through breathing. People are going to just let this go in one ear and out the other, but you're about to hear one of the most important things you could ever hear in your life. Change your breath, change your life. Breathing is programming code for the human biorobot. You can get excitatory states, you can get calming states, you can get psychedelic states, all from different ways of breathing, from breathing patterns. Dr. Talleyrand, very great ad for that, and it's very true. Change your breath, change your life. Dr. Mark?
Yep. All the yoga teachers teach that too.
I said breath work at the right time. Thank you, Mathieu St. Germain, for breaking it down.
Absolutely.
It's all about
Namaste.
Oh, also, real quick, Rico.
Yeah.
Did you know Donald Trump finally admitted to losing the 26th election on Lex Friedman podcast 2 days ago?
I don't know about all that.
I listened to it.
What the hell does this have to do with?
Why that ain't got nothing to do with
Anybody
this.
who's interested can look at Lex Friedman's podcast.
I think they
See
should.
that Donald Trump finally admitted
He talks all about weed in there too, Matthew.
He did actually talk about weed when asked about mushrooms. Wasn't really able to answer it, but I understand it. It's a hot button topic he probably knows nothing about. But he is trying to, Trump is trying to pander by pushing legalization. But if we look at the Republicans, it's not going to happen. And that's all the people who say Donald Trump's going to save us. What I say is, look at his team.
His team is amazing, bro.
Taking away our
his
liberties.
team is amazing. Vivek Ramaswamy, okay, Tulsi Gabbard, your boy JFK. Okay, or RFK.
He's no longer my boy, and it's RFK Jr.
RFK. He's got a hit squad.
Wrong FK.
Yeah.
And who I'm talking about is Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Romney, Ron DeSantis,
those guys are
the entire
irrelevant
GOP
right now.
establishment. That's who I'm talking about. But anyway,
How do we turn this beautiful article about
Mathieu St. Germain, you totally switched this whole thing up.
I know, that was me. I did it.
There was no reason for that.
I love you guys.
Why did you do that, Matthew? Why would you do that?
It's really important.
It is a Friday. It's a nice day. We were having. This is why we can't have nice things at High at Night.
But Jenny Beth, chaos is a ladder. Never forget.
Oh boy.
Well, I guess that's why we're tall, Rika.
Remember, you guys are spreading the news, but we're also having some fun.
Yes,
Kenny, I love you. Jason, I love you. Dr. Rico, I love you too.
Without a doubt.
Agreement with St. Germain is not a predication for love. I love you regardless of our agreement or disagreement. I will always poke the bear in a friendly manner because I think it's really important for all of us to kind of poke at the holes in our armor so we can learn, improve who we are, and improve our thinking and improve our rhetoric.
We only poke you because you're Jewish, Matthew.
And
I'm
Matthew
on this show to try to actually help move the human race forward. Even
I wonder if RFK Jr. poked the bear after he killed it.
Oh,
bro,
boy.
he poked the
It's
bear.
time-
He poked the whale.
It's time to go. Time to go, Rico. Time to go.
Sorry. I couldn't resist. I took the bait.
You took the bait. Yeah, for
Happy
sure.
Friday, everybody.
Yeah.
MSG's fault. You know I have no self-control. All right.
Jason, get back to Orange County. It's brunch time, dog. Let's go.
Thank you all for joining us for another episode of High at 9 News. Catch us live weekdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to the Super Fan Show on there. Love getting comments posted live on the big screen. We didn't have none today, Jason.
No.
But shout out to Nick Bradley for getting me out of bed, making sure I was
Slow
here
down.
for
Slow down with all that extraness.
Oh, Nick.
Yeah.
Jason, thanks for never firing me.
Of course.
Yes, but also our live audience, online supporters, catching us across all media platforms, tuning in each day to the headlines of chaos, also known as the developing cannabis industry. To our vetted correspondent team, tuning in from all over, bring this much-needed variety of perspective, your respected opinions to the table, too. We always respect each other's opinions, even though we sometimes get into it. It's all love, and we all come together in this thing we call the Cipher of Life.
So sweet.
To our production team, Cloud Media Partners, all the sponsors keeping the lights on and struggles to a minimum,
Rico.
Especially Catalyst.
Rico.
For weed is for the people, huh?
Rico, we got Sean in the building today.
Yeah, Sean.
Yes.
Sounds in the house.
Thank you, Sean. Much better than Wednesday. Much better than Wednesday, Sean. Great job today.
Sean's running the shit out the show. Let's
Yes.
go, Sean.
Oh, Sean, yeah, big
And
love.
he's just a nice guy. We love him.
Yes. He's bringing respectability back to the name Sean. No Diddy.
You almost wasted my Diet Coke, Rico.
It has been Friday, September 6th, 2024. The show's over. You've all been blessed with the top industry headlines. Hope it was enough for you to put in your pipe and smoke at least until Monday. My name is Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News, America's #1 daily cannabis news show. And today we're going to pop it out, back out to the man himself, MSG. Give us some.
boy. Here we go, Matthew.
You know, I really think I said it all,
We're
but
going
I'll
on a
just try to
roller
say it
coaster.
one more time. Release yourself from fear. Realize that no matter how you're trying to vote those people on the news, watch for how they play on your fear, your support. Release yourself from fear. Here's your mantra. Nothing will be okay. I'm going to do a great job of it. Right? Right. It's not going to be okay, you guys. We're all dead.
Oh,
Go out
boy.
and love somebody before you're really under the ground, hated, etc. That's about all I got, Rico. I love you guys.
Did you just encourage a casual encounter?
Well,
What?
lowered expectations.
yeah, let's wrap it up.